Would you start making a little bit of noise? Bring out to about 75%. And that's the top.
Right, wow. Look at you all. Gorgeous, all of you. Every single one of you between a 10 and a 6. But this is coming from a solid 5, so I'm punching above my weight with the least of you. Hello. You look like a nice audience. This looks like a nice venue. I look like a nice stand-up comedian, so we are going to have a nice time. That is a promise or a threat. Depending on what motivates you more, the carrot or the stick. So my name's Chrissy, Derbyshire. Just to give you a very quick idea of the kind of person we're dealing with here, I recently put both of my hands in the bin in a public bathroom because I thought it was a Dyson Airblade. So that's me. What else can I say about myself? I'm quite a modern person. I'd like to think I'm a bit of an advocate for more atypical, more progressive family setups. For instance, my life partner isn't strictly a husband. If anything, he's more what you'd call a cat. He's a cat. He's a cat. His name's Bernard. I think we have a very healthy relationship. Except that he did recently lick my boob. And we haven't really spoken about it since. So I'm not sure what that means for us. I think this is going to be my year though. I think this is going to be my year. I think this might be the year where I finally become a viable human being. It's been a bit of an uphill struggle though. Not going to lie, it has been an uphill struggle. Most struggles are uphill, really, aren't they, when you think about them? Hardly ever hear of struggles in other directions. Sisyphus chasing a boulder down a hill like, shit, catch it. There are several impediments to me becoming a functioning human. For a start, like every self-respecting stand-up comedian, I have ADHD. And I discovered I had ADHD quite late in life, so I talk about it a lot, more than I ought to. I think I'm starting to get a bit boring about it. I think I'm starting to get a bit evangelical. Don't know what I'm hoping to achieve. Don't know what the neurodivergent agenda is. You'd have to ask the autistic people about that. The autistic people are in charge of the agenda. I jump in when everything is already on fire. So yeah, I have ADHD, I have poor short-term memory, poor impulse control, I'm clinically depressed, I have poor short-term memory, and I'm an introvert. And to top it all off, I have chosen as my profession something that requires the most unnatural communication possible. This is not normal. This is not normal. This is weird. This is me up here, you down there. Do I have the power because I'm holding the mic? Do you have the power because there are more of you than there are of me? Barely. It's weird, isn't it? It is weird. I'm going to make it so weird. And in the spirit of that, I've been thinking a lot lately about my internal organs. Yeah, there's no natural way to introduce that into the conversation, is there? And we're all, I would say, weirdly coy, weirdly prudish about our innards. Like, as soon as our insides are mentioned, we become some kind of fainting aunt from a Jane Austen novel. Mr. Darcy, please, your kidneys. They're on full display. Save something for your wife. That was from Pride and Pancreas. Bit of fun, isn't it? But they're there, aren't they? Yes, I think. I don't check very often. I'd say I look at my own insides the normal amount, which I've Googled that, and that's not at all. Not at all. I don't look at my own insides at all. But I do believe that they're there. And I don't like that I'm aware that they're there. I think if you want to be constantly mildly traumatised, and you're watching me, so I assume that's what you're into, I would recommend becoming aware of your own internal organs. And the fact that, best case scenario, they are sitting there inside you day after day, doing things without your complete understanding or your permission. And there's flipping loads of them too. Like, if I had to estimate, I would say at least 5 or 6 different bits. I'm not a qualified doctor. I could have been. I chose not to be. Medicine's loss was comedy's gain. I am going somewhere with this, by the way. I do have a point. Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page vis-a-vis guts. On that note, hello. Hi. What's your name? Glenn. Don't know what I was expecting. Hello, Glenn. Glenn, tell me, Glenn, do you think it's reasonable for me to assume that you have internal organs? Yes. Oh, that was a pretty certain yes. That wasn't alpha male we have here. He knows what he's got inside and he doesn't care who else knows. Well done. I don't think it's particularly contentious for me to suggest that most of us, in fact, have internal organs. More controversially, though, I think that some of my major organs have a good cop, bad cop situation going on. I will explain. My heart, that's the good cop. Nothing wrong with my heart at all. I love it. It pumps blood around my body like an absolute champ. I want it to beat. It does beat every day so far. No problem at all with my heart. My brain, on the other hand, it's an arsehole. Not literally, obviously, that would be biologically played. I mean that my brain is a dick. Again, not literally. To be absolutely clear, my brain is a brain, but that's the best thing I can say about it. I hate it, it hates me, there's mutual animosity there. At best, it's kind of blithely useless. At worst, I think it might be trying to kill me. Because every day, several times a day, my brain will just go, oh no! I'll say, what? What is it? And my brain will say, oh no! You've forgotten! I'll say, what? What have I forgotten? And my brain will say, I don't know, something probably. And the worst part is it's usually right. I usually have forgotten something because, like I said, I have zero short-term memory. Brilliant long-term, zero short-term. So I can remember word for word the song from a Chicken Bovril advert from 1988. But I can't remember the beginning of this sentence. I'm just hoping that by the time I reach a natural pause in speech, it's at least grammatically correct. So I'm standing there desperately trying to work out what it is that I might have forgotten. And my brain chips in again, very helpfully. Hi, hello, hi, excuse me, hi. Maybe you've forgotten your PE kit. And I say, no. And I don't think so, brain. I'm 40 years old, actually. Do I need a PE kit? No. Do I own a PE kit? No. Am I still scared of my PE teacher? Yes. Yes, very much yes. So thanks for that, brain. Then again, when I go to sleep, as soon as my head hits the pillow, my brain pops up like the Microsoft Word paperclip. It looks like you're trying to have an existential crisis. Would you like some help with that? No, thank you. No, thank you. But it doesn't care. It's got the bit in its teeth. Not literally, it's a brain. It's on a roll. And it says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that because I've got 5 hours of fake definitions of words to share with you. And I say, no, thank you, brain. I don't want that. And my brain says, a platypus is a cat with braids. And I say, no. And my brain says, melancholy, a dog made of fruit. And I say, no! And my brain says, archetype is the answer to what kind of boat did Noah have? He had an archetype of boat. And I say, shut up! And my brain says, I see how it is. You want me to change the channel. And I say, oh God, please, no, don't change the channel. But it says, oh no. You've twisted my arm, not literally, it's a brain. You've persuaded me. I'm going to change the channel. And then it's a 50-50 chance of it being either a night of crippling self-loathing, so my brain reminding me of all the ways in which I might have let down myself, my child, my parents, my friends, my lovers, not in bed, just FYI. My PE teacher again, weirdly. Sometimes my country. Either that, or again, on a loop, that Chicken Bovril advert from 1988. That advert. There was a woman in that Chicken Bovril advert who claimed to be a fashion model. I don't think models do drink liquid chicken. And that has bothered me for 37 years. Because that's another thing I struggle with. I struggle with understanding the hierarchy of what should and should not worry me. And that worries me. I'm not sure if it should. To give you an example of this, a little while ago, I had a bit of a day. Now, 2 things happened, which is more things than usually happen to me in a day. The first thing, I had some neutral feedback from my boss. Not negative feedback, neutral feedback. But my brain's response to it, well, I'm going to be fired. I've worked out I'm not a real human being and I am going to lose my job. I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage, I'm going to lose my home. The song says nobody wants you when you're down and out, nobody's going to want me, nobody wants me now, but they're going to want me even less. I'm going to become a social pariah, a warning to idle neurodivergent children. If you don't study small talk hard enough, you'll end up like the swamp hag. Is there even a swamp near me? What if I have to construct my own swamp? I don't know how to do that. I'm not a telmatologist. Every day's a school day. Telmatologist, that's a real definition for you. Swamp specialist. I'm not a telmatologist. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to fail at being a swamp hag. I'm going to have nothing and no one. I'm going to die alone and unloved in a sewer, and my cat, Bernard, is going to feast on my corpse. Because I need positive feedback. I crave validation. When my doctor said my urine sample was perfect, without thinking, my response was, oh, thanks. This old thing, I'll put that on my CV. Put it on my Tinder profile. Good sense of humour, perfect urine sample. Now you'll remember that two things happened to me that day. Okay, first thing, neutral feedback. The second thing, I slightly set my house on fire. Whoops. So random. Yeah, I accidentally set my house on fire a little bit. And don't get me wrong, it was scary. I had to use the fire blanket for the first time ever. I didn't know how to use it. As far as I was concerned, there was a very strong chance that in using the fire blanket to put out the fire, I would set the fire blanket on fire. It was scary. But once I'd sorted it out, once I had a chance to get it kind of sorted out in my brain's response to it was, oh, I tell you what, that was a nice change of pace. So I try to quiet the stupidity with work. Not comedy work, real work, busy work. But my brain, it's still there. I know it needs to be there so I can live or something, but it remains loud and it remains stupid. Like, sometimes I'll be working on my laptop, I'm not a pianist or a very good mime. I'll be working and my brain will pop up and say, hi, busy? Yes, I'm working. Working, are you? Cool. Hey, you know how you're interested in languages? Yes. And you know how the French word for bike is vélo? Yes, I think I remember that from school. Why are you telling me this, brain? Velociraptors are called velociraptors because they used to ride bicycles. That's not true! You know that's not true, you're just doing faux etymology again! So people often come up to me after my gigs and say, oh, Chrissy, I love this character you've created. No, I have various problems. I'm working on it though, I am working on it. I'm in therapy right now, thank you. The bedside manner's a bit weird, you keep laughing at me, but I think I'm into it. It's good though, isn't it? It's good to talk about your problems, whatever your outlet is, whether you've got access to real therapy, whether you just talk to a friend, vent on social media. I think our lovely art space owner here looks like she might write sad songs on a ukulele, and that is absolutely fine. That is fine, because it's good to talk about the ways in which we're weird and messed up and broken, because we are all weird and messed up and a little bit broken. This world, this beautiful, miraculous, lush green earth on which we live is so weird. It is so messed up. Have you ever seen a nature documentary? Don't if you want to still like nature. It's a Lovecraftian hellscape out there. An octopus's penis, ladies and gentlemen, is on the end of one of its arms. You can rip it off and throw it at you if it wants to mate. Not you personally, I don't know why you like eyes just then. Still, that doesn't feel right, does it? That is counterintuitive. If you're not at least a little bit put out by that, I would put it to you that your Pornhub search history is troublingly specific. You can call it vintage anime as much as you want then. I don't know how to live in a world that is so wet and squishy. How are we supposed to go on in a world where octopuses are out there just flinging their willies at people? Probably not people, actually, probably other octopuses. I don't know. I'm not a cephalopodologist. Cephalopodologist? Octopus scientist. A scientist who studies octopuses, not a scientist who is an octopus. Unless that octopus scientist is in turn studying other octopuses. Either way, I'm not one.
No.
Thanks, I'm glad you agree. Like I said, love the validation. Just to be told I'm not an octopus is enough. But I am some kind of person. How do I go on when I am so full of wet, squishy, visceral guts? How am I supposed to live in this world? And the answer, of course, is this. Stand-up comedy. And I'm aware that stand-up comedy isn't a real thing that people do. Like, as soon as I tell someone, I feel like I must be lying. Like, when I tell someone that I'm a stand-up comedian, as far as I'm concerned, the impression I get is that they've already looked at me and made some assumptions about what I do based on the way I look. So, librarian, obviously. Yeah. Substitute teacher, not a real teacher, she doesn't have the gravitas, but a substitute. Maybe this woman looks like she might have quite a good typing speed. And or a very small niche OnlyFans. I'm terrible at admin. And then I have the audacity to tell them that, oh, actually, I get up on stage and tell my little jokes. And I say it with the same apparently unearned confidence that I might say that I'm a lion tamer, or a famous astronaut, or the other sister from the cause who nobody talks about because somehow she came out English. But I do this, I do stand-up comedy, and it changes you. It does change you, stand-up comedy. I've gone from never having met a comedian in real life to everybody I know either is a comedian or will be soon. If any of you in the audience aren't stand-up comedians, don't resist, just let it happen. The thing that, the biggest difference is that your priorities shift. When you're a comedian, you start to do things because you think you'll get a good anecdote out of it. So you will take that stupid job, you'll go on that ill-advised date, you'll jump out of that plane. Me, I did something a bit silly really, I procreated. Yeah, I thought, children, there's a rich seam of comedy there, why not push an entire human being out of the old vagina and see what happens? But when I say old vagina, it's no older than the rest of me. It's not a hand-me-down. Vintage purse, love it. No. And I had a kid, and it's going pretty well. I fed him today. No, I love having a kid. I really love being a parent. I think it is so moving being privileged to watch this screaming potato gradually blossom into a weirdly dependent flatmate. The thing though about being a parent, is that you spend so much of your life, so much of your mind, your soul, parenting, that when your kid's not around and it's time to stop parenting, it's really hard to turn it off. You do find yourself pointing out moo cows to strangers on the bus. Worst one of these that ever happened to me was my partner at the time had a friend round. So this was two guys in their late 30s kicking back, playing cards in my living room. And let me tell you, it really does change the whole vibe of an evening. When you go up to your long-term romantic partner and his friend, who you don't know very well, lean over them and say, "Will Mummy get you a drink?" I had to have a threesome that night just to save face. You've been absolutely brilliant. I unfortunately have been Chrissy Derbyshire. Thank you. Sorry, please ignore me. I wasn't here.
pull you out 5, 10 past 9. Go get a drink, have a wee, do